Oh, you the voice?
Nah, not me.
So if you're not the voice, who is?
The people, man. The people's the voice.
So what does that make you?
That makes me the middleman. I'm the middleman. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Middleman Podcast. I am the man in the middle, Kevin Martinez, and today I am joined by my good friend, Thurman T. Will. Welcome back, brother.
What's up, champ?
Oh, nothing much, man. Welcome back to the Middleman Podcast. You have been here before. He has been featured on the Middleman Podcast, and the first go-around was fantastic. We had an excellent conversation.
Sure did.
Episode 38, so it's great to double back and have you back on the show, man.
I'm happy that you've had me here. Like, it's a good thing. I've been so excited to come on this show. I've been waiting, and I know our times were conflicting a little bit, but we finally figured it out, and I'm ready to go.
Of course, man. I am so happy because, from our first go-around, what I recall was you would always drop, like, knowledgeable phrases.
Okay.
Okay. And knowledgeable phrases. You were doing so much more different things than you are doing now that we're going to talk about later in this conversation. I'm excited to just be here with you because I'm like, I know nonetheless, whatever at the end of the conversation, when we were booking this, I said, we're going to have a fantastic conversation no matter what.
Facts.
Because we vibe.
Yeah, we get along.
What's the word? It's energy?
Vibe. I like vibe more than energy.
You know what's the word?
What?
Schwegwe. A little early in the show for that, but we'll get back into that. So our first go around, things were much different in your life. Okay. And I wrote a caption, right? I write captions for all of my guests, okay? And I think everyone should understand that these captions, I put a lot of thought into this because it's like a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Like a prelude to who you're going to listen to or interview or just see what's going on. And I think a lot of people overlook the captions, but I looked at the captions because in a sense, it's kind of like Cliff Notes, right? So I looked at the captions and some of the first things that I wrote were, you were a vlogger, you were a Twitch streamer, you were a sports enthusiast, and most of all, I remember saying that, you're just trying to figure out the best life for yourself. You remember that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so back then, you were vlogging and you were doing Twitch.
Right.
And I feel like that may not be anymore. Is that fair to assume?
It's on the back burner because it's not the definite chief aim. Like, that wasn't the goal. So it was more of a hobby that I thought was a bigger passion than what it was. So, like, before we got on show, I was telling you that before I was trying to find the way, like find the niche. I like to say niche sometimes because I just like throw it off. But like then I thought, being on the camera, I do love podcasts. I do like being in front of the camera. I do like streaming, right? But was it really something I truly love to do because I didn't put every last drop of energy into it?
Okay.
So I had to find a new place to put all that energy. I need to find the place that I wanted to put all my time and all my effort, not just what I think I want. And what it was I had to go back and look inside myself and say, what did I start off doing? And I started Schwegwe by doing events. That's how Schwegwe came about. My first event ever was a basketball tournament. So I had to get back to the roots. I had to find the niche. And that's what happened.
Niche. Yep. So Schwegwe. Okay, let's actually transition to Schwegwe because if you haven't heard episode 38 of the Middleman Podcast, my man Thurman basically invented a term, and it still lives on to this day.
Sure does.
Even while you aren't, vlogging or twitching, which you do vlog here and there.
Yes, I got another one dropping soon.
They're fantastic. I'm a big fan. We could dedefinitely talk about that soon. But Schwegwe, right? Schwegwe, event planning. That's kind of where you're at now. How have you been like trying to coordinate more events like festivals, so on and so forth?
I'm working on that aspect. That's a bigger event. Everything has levels to it, right? So right now where I'm at I'm working for Idle Hours and I am their event coordinator. And to build up, networking and to try to understand how everything actually moves, I think you should first start off small for me, because if I take on too much, I won't see it all the way through. At least that's what my past has shown me, is that if I take on way too much, I won't get it all done. So what I did was I go work for the company that has the space, the boutique room. And then I learned how to be the best event coordinator through that. And with my connections, I'm now planning other events. So you met Q. Q is running a campaign. He's a campaign manager. I'm not going to get all into that, but he has events coming up for the person that's running for office. So we put on the events for that.
Really, really cool to hear that my man Q is doing his thing.
He's out here.
Yeah.
He's out here.
I mean, he showed up to the show in a suit.
I mean,
he was strictly business.
Dressed to impress. Like that's Q to the T. Like even right, I got off the phone with him early this morning, and he was already on another job site, like ready to roll
on a Sunday, nonetheless.
You know, gotta get it. Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it, and he's doing it.
Yes.
Before we get into event planning and everything, I just want to double back as to what we were talking about earlier with twitching and vlogging, and so much has changed in your life. And you mentioned reevaluating. You mentioned reevaluating. Finding the niche, or maybe turning that energy into a different source. You want to use it into something else. What happened? Like, what was different that made you think like, okay, you know what? I may be vlogging and Twitch streaming. I could put that on the back burner, and I need to focus my gear towards something different.
Good old mom.
Good old mom. Shout out to mom. She was first.
It's a good old mom. Moms always know best. They really do. So like she could see, and she was one of the people that would tune in, always watch all the vlogs, all the Twitches, whatever I was doing, she was supporting. But I always talk to my mother all the time. So all the time that we would talk, she would say, something's missing. And she's like, maybe you should do because I would always ask her, hey, maybe Swagway's not going the way I want Swagway to go. And she's like, maybe you should bring Swagway back to what it started at. And that's what made me say, maybe I should get into events. How do I do events? Sometimes I was lacking the courage to do it by myself, so I found the outlet to go to Idle Hours because they had the spot open. But 9 times out of 10, like I've applied for event coordinator positions before, but sometimes that position is held for 20 years and they never let that position go. This one just so happened to be open, and I got the interview and things went well and I got the job. So that's what leads me to that, is the pivot is understanding that what was working wasn't really working. You got to be honest with yourself and say that's not what the mission is. We got to do a different mission.
That's inspiring, because I think reevaluation and be able to pull the plug on yourself takes a lot of guts and it takes a lot of courage.
To be honest, look in the mirror. There's only just you and it's just you, really. Like people probably tell you like, oh, this is a great thing. Like, hey, this podcast is awesome, but only really if this is a good thing. Exactly.
And to add on that right now, I just had a discussion with Mr. Enrigo. I had a discussion with him, and he hit me up on Instagram, and he was like, hey, man, I really love your consistency. You're really doing a great job. Middleman Podcast is going to take off someday, And I was like, thank you so much, very kind words. But I was like, but the work isn't anywhere near finished. And this is, I'm sorry to say, but like this setup is lovely to the first eyes, for people who see it for the first time. But to me, it's starting to soar my eyes, and I want to change it. I want to change it, and I want to be able to get myself a new laptop. I want to be able to get to the new camera. I want to be able to have different angles to where we can do so much more. And, that just comes with time. But it is, as I was saying, like, we feel like we're doing a good thing. You might say that we're doing a good thing, but to me, I'm like, we're on like the freaking first.
Right.
We're on the third step.
But you got it. But still, you're still being honest with yourself. You're not saying like, they're like, oh my God, I like your consistency, and it goes straight to your head, and you're like, you know what? Right here, we did it. Like once you get like complacent with it and lose your consistency, this whole thing goes straight down the drain, straight down. All that hard work that you put in without consistency is nothing. The job will never get finished.
You're right, because I remember when I was off and I wasn't doing anything, someone said to me like, yo, you got to keep in mind with you not doing anything, everyone's posting and basically lapping you twice, whatever, how many times, 50,000 times every time that you don't post. There's so many people who just lap to you. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that way, but it's true. It's true.
Yes, in today's society, especially because so much content comes out left and right. Everybody wants to be a podcaster, but the ones who stay in it win it.
The ones who stay in it, 100%, because a lot of people don't make it past 30. And
that's a fact. That is a fact. You're way past 30.
Way past 30, man. I'm excited for 100. And, like event coordinating, right? This is what I want to say is I think you and I, as well as another podcaster who I know, shout out Trudy, we've mentioned it, like starting a festival, like starting an event. I mentioned to you earlier off camera that I'm going to a festival after this.
Correct.
Vendors, so on and so forth, and such a great time. I want to create something like that. And I know you want to do it in a sense of swag way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you, now that you're in the game and you're into event planning, what are probably some steps that we should start off with if we were to hypothetically start something?
If we was to so I've already thought about some of these things. A lot of it is location. Like a lot of it is having the space, having the entertainment behind it as well. It's not really just one person. Like even if you have an event planner, there's so many moving parts that have to get figured out, and people don't see these moving parts at all. And sometimes you can't see them until you're in it, which is the funny part. Like sometimes I could give you all the steps that I could lay out on how we do an event and how we get it started. And the moment you're in the thick of things is when you realize, oh, okay, I should have thought about this. Oh, I should have thought about that. So for a festival, where I would start is how were other festivals successful? And then what's the entertainment that we would do differently to make our festival stand out? I would have to start there. And then obviously promotion, marketing, making sure you have vendors, and then go from there. People show up if it's a great time.
So you mentioned, team trying to gather all those people, things that are going on behind the scenes. If you had to just give me a guesstimation of like how many people we would probably need.
A good one? Well, how big is this festival?
You know what? Let's say.
Talking
all right.
block party?
Have you seen the Good Things Are Happening festival over here in the Scranton Iron Furnaces? It happened last year for the first time.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
They have like a stage and they have band members and then they have just like an open plot of land with vendors all the way around. Let's say it probably holds up to, on a good day, 500, 600.
Okay.
Right?
If you got people coming that's holding 500, 600, you're going to need a good team.
Okay.
You're going to need a good, strong team.
Because I feel like that's a relatively small.
Yeah. But there's a lot of different, you got security, you got, if there's bands coming onto the stage, now we're talking about a stage manager and just to deal with the bands or who's setting up their equipment while bands are transitioning. I only learned that because of the big break we're doing their things. They were talking about those different moving parts that if you have one person controlling that and something else, something could get messed up there. So if you was having 500 people trying to come to a festival, I would only feel comfortable with having a team of 10 to 15 people minimum. If we have more, that's awesome. But 10 to 15 people that all have specific roles, we could get that done.
Like this person's on management, this person's on stage crew, this person's on vendors, this person's on security, so on and so forth.
Right.
And it's about acquiring the space. And, in your experience here, I know you mentioned that now that you are in Idle Hours and you have the boutique and you have the space, is it hard to find a space if you were to try to coordinate something like this?
Something like that, you would need a connection. And that's not, that's just making a couple phone calls.
Yeah.
In terms of like something, say, smaller, say you was trying to throw like
you said block party earlier.
Yeah, block party. But say you was doing like a bunch of musicians coming. Okay. And we just want to do like a showcase. It's not hard to find like a little hotel space that wants to rent out their boutique area for a couple $100. You go rent that out. You get all your bands together. You figure out how to get your sponsors. You have your sponsors. And I never believed if you have bands coming, you should pay your band. The band should always get paid. I just believe that. So if bands are coming, you get all your sponsorships to pay the bands.
Oh, yeah. And for sure.
That's it. And then you sell tickets, call it a day.
Yeah. Okay.
Boom. And all these boutique rooms hold 300, 400, 500 people. So boom, shove people in there. Even if they can't fit, I'll shove you in.
No, I'm telling you, man, that's a real thought that's come across my mind.
It's good. I mean, we should make it happen. If you really want to do that, I have been looking for people that want to throw not just regular events around here, big, something crazy, block parties, festivals, those things that could bring attention to Scranton in a positive light. I don't see that around. I don't see it.
I think we can do that, and I'm being so serious, man. I mentioned Trudy. She's another podcaster out here. She's out in Dixon, and she focuses a lot on music,
right?
Which we have done music, but we don't only focus on music.
Right,
so
you guys do everything.
Yeah, nonetheless, so she could have the backing for music, DJ, so on and so forth. Like we have the list, we have the people. It's all about what's your price, how are we going to make this happen, and let's make it happen.
Right. See, yeah, that's too. A budget is definitely always something.
A budget is probably the biggest thing.
It's the biggest thing because what are you willing to spend?
Exactly.
And if you don't have that budget, where you're going to go get it from? And now people are I think I want to use the word frivolous, but I don't know if that's it. But they just don't respect money. So they don't know how to go about getting it. They think like numbers are too astronomical that you're asking for. You got to know your budget. You got to know your price. You got to also know your worth. So you can't be jumping out here on your first event saying, I want $1 million. You're not worth $1 million just yet. It's come down to earth a little bit. And some people don't know how to do that, which is going back and just being real with yourself saying, this is what I could get. If I could only get $1,000, make an event happen for $1,000. Basketball tournament. I ran a basketball tournament. I don't think I spent $200, but we had 50 people show up. We had people show up that wasn't even a part of the tournament. They just wanted to come see ballers ball. Done. Event coordinator extraordinaire.
So that's where it all started for you in a sense. So back when you were running that basketball league, which was for Swagway, correct? Did you feel like that was your niche and you kind of knew it was, but at the time you were still dealing with the Twitch and vlogging and so on and so forth?
So that was even before when I did the basketball tournament, I didn't even know about Twitching, streaming, none of that.
Oh, okay.
So that was a long time ago. And when I say I believed it, I knew it. Like no one had to tell me to be an event coordinator. I just wanted to do that. Like even when I was younger, I would throw stupid parties in my parents' house just for fun, like just whatever. Even I got way too many stories I'm not going to tell on camera about how these parties happen. But that was a calling. Like I knew that. Like that felt good. I knew what to do. Even when it got hard, like it wasn't too hard that I wanted to give up. I was like, all right, let's just figure out how to maneuver because everything gets challenging in life. But sometimes if it's too challenging and then you feel like you're about to give up and you do, it's probably because you didn't want that shit enough. And if you wanted enough, everything is going to get challenging. I'm about to knock that hurdle over. I'm going to go around it. You know, like just figure it out. There's nothing to it but to do it. My barber just told me that today.
Barbers are always wise, aren't they?
Therapists.
Barbers always wise. Fresh cut over here for T-Will.
You know?
Fresh cut. I wanted to ask you, so it sounds like you like bringing people together. I feel like if you are an event coordinator, you like to bring people together. You like to bring joy to a certain area, to a certain room. Like you said, to create a spotlight for what's going on, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What can you attribute into your personality? What personality trait do you think helps you best with that? Helps you best with trying to bring the people together?
Okay. People like to say I'm very outgoing, and I guess so, right? But there's definitely times where I don't feel outgoing. So, but what I would say is there's no reason to be a dick to people. Like, there's literally no reason. I understand we all go through shit, but like, there's really no reason to be an asshole to somebody else. So what I try to do is no matter who I meet, no matter where we are, no matter what you look like, I'm going to give you the same amount of respect that I want. So that's all I could do. And if I smile at you, you can't be mad at me if I smile at you. And if you are, you're an asshole. Like, that's the way I just put it. There are assholes in the world, but like, I'm just going to be nice to you. And if I'm nice to you, I would want you to be nice to me. And if you're not, you're just an asshole. And I move on. I don't hold that. But to most people, if I'm nice to you, you're probably going to be nice to me. And then it's just a good time. Like, there's no problems. There's no nothing. I don't want nothing from you. You don't want nothing from me. We just want to have a good time.
It's as simple as respect, respect for someone. And, I respect you. You respect me. Okay, we're going to keep it cool. We're going to have a good time.
That's it.
You're going to have a great time.
That's it.
And, it's funny that you mentioned respect and, maybe someone who could get aggressive and, you kind of just take the passive approach and, kind of walk it off or just, don't be a dick, but you're just passive aggressive. No, thank you. I appreciate it so much, because the reason I'm saying this is because, so Twitch may not be doing so much, right? But you still are vlogging.
I did.
And they're great. But where can people find a vlog? First of all, where can people find a vlog? Because
so you want to go on YouTube if you're looking for the old vlogs. Those are the older ones. Where I do the newer ones are on Facebook. You can type in Thurman Wilson, Thurman, not Thurston, not Thirsher. I get called so many different names. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. But check, if you go on my Facebook and type in Thurman Wilson, you can see all the new vlogs. I got a new one getting ready to come out. My last vlog was about someone just being a dick. And
that's why I'm bringing that up.
There's nothing I could have did about that. So, the guy had some issues or whatever he was going through, and he thought I was having a conversation with his girlfriend but his girlfriend just needed to know where the bathroom was at. And, because he was insecure about some things and wanted to bring it up to me, this shit could have went left. We could have, messed our whole lives up. But what's the purpose of that when I could just be like, all right, man, you right. See you later. And keep it pushing. Because now my day continues to be happy. But if I would have tried to stay in that mess and sink down, as my mother says, be an eagle, don't come down here and try to mess with all these little ducks. Don't do it.
That's what I'm saying. These are the phrases. I love it. I love it.
Don't deal with the ducks. Just be an eagle and soar. So when you deal with those problems, just, all right, man, like, you right. Go ahead. Like, go ahead. I won't talk to your girlfriend again. But if she needs to go to the bathroom, I'm going to tell her where it's
It's a brilliant comparison there for eagles and ducks. I love that.
Be an eagle.
That is amazing.
Unless you're a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah.
Are you a Phillies fan?
I'm Pittsburgh, bro. Steel City.
Okay.
Steel City.
I'm with that.
I'm not a Bird fan. What are you in football? Oh, you're a Giant, right?
No.
Oh, my fault.
No. I'm a Falcon fan.
Oh, okay.
It's worse right now. We bad. Oh, man.
You've been bad. Sorry.
That's true.
Sorry.
Yeah, after that Super Bowl, it's never been good. Never been good.
Ever since then.
Oh.
I want to talk about, I just want to piggyback off what you were saying as far as like insecurities. Insecurity is, and it definitely sounds like that man was insecure over nothing because you worked there, first of all.
That's what I couldn't figure out.
The man works there. Like he's a genuine employee trying to assist a customer to wherever she wanted. She could have just asked him what the fuck the time was. You know what I mean? Like seriously. But he just took it way out of context. Like, bro, you looking at my girl? Like, damn, that's crazy. Insecurities it's bad. You mentioned your barber. I went to the barbershop the other day, and my barber, he was mentioning to me, he's like, hey, did someone hit you up about a podcast? And I was like, dude, I got a lot of people who hit me up. Like, you got to be a little bit more specific. He was like, oh, he said, I had someone in my chair, and they were talking about trying to start a podcast, and it kind of sounds like you two weren't going to be along the same playing field. And what he means by that is that our ideology,
there it is,
for my podcast and my brand, won't cross paths with his, know? And I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, no, but no one ever hit me up. And I was like, honestly, bro, I said, even if my path did cross with his, let's say he was trying to create something similar along the lines of what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to give that person the advice,
Facts.
Because I'm not insecure about what we got going on here.
Right, pass it down.
Yeah, 100% pass it down because I found it hard to find information when I was starting this off. I found, everyone was so insecure, I guess. They didn't want to give you their tips and their techniques on how to record, how to something as simple as, how do I export this file? I couldn't get an answer for. So with that being said, insecurity can lead to a lot of troubling things, and I'm sure I got my insecurities like this gap tooth, you know what I mean? But it's lovely. I love the gap. I got my insecurities, but
you gotta, if you don't know what you're insecure about, you're gonna be in for a world of trouble, because I believe, like I said, you gotta take it's like a self-check of who you are. You gotta know who you are. And I know I'm not perfect. But when I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, got a big ass head. All right, let's figure that one out. Okay, get over it. Like, this is what God gave me. Like, this is what I'm blessed to have this. Some people are not fortunate enough to have what's inside my head.
Mm-hmm. Which is chaos.
But like, be honest with yourself. And it's okay. Like, I think the world puts too much pressure on everybody, which gives us insecurity sometimes. But like, it's all right. Like, everything is going to be all right. Like, you are perfect in your skin.
You got to be okay with that in your skin. I was talking to someone and they were like, this life on this earth. And I was like, that was just a weird way to put it. And like, this life on this earth. I've never heard someone refer to themselves as, yeah, man, I'm just kind of living this life on this earth.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
Yeah. I was like, all right. I was like, what do you mean by that? I should have dug into him a little more. I don't know why that came to my head.
So this life on this earth.
Yeah.
Like, because maybe there's more. There's got to be more. I just heard somebody say, like, when you lose somebody that's close to you, now you got something's great's about to happen because you have somebody else on the opposite side of the playing field. And I was like, that's crazy to think about, because there's more. If you believe in that type of stuff, right? And I'm not telling nobody what to believe, but like, if there's more to life, then that means we're only living right here. And then say when we pass away, there's more to it. Like, that's crazy. That's be crazy. Because your spirit got to go somewhere. That's what I believe. I believe it.
And that's why I think he kind of mentioned this life on this earth.
Right.
And soul, mind, body, soul. It all works together, right? Mm-hmm. And the playing field. It was definitely with 570 Exotics who said that. Mr. Drew Chase, he said that. And I find, like, when he said it in the podcast, it was off-putting.
Caught off?
It was off-putting, yeah, but it was good. I liked it because he was like, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I'm sorry, but there aren't, he's like, there's no way that there's no atheists or some shit. Like, someone believes in something. You're praying to something. He's like, I'm sorry, because I feel, he's like, when people get towards the end of their life or whatever, like, that's when they realize, like, fuck, like, maybe I should have.
That's crazy we're having this conversation.
It is, because it went completely south. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, because it's weird because I was just thinking about this morning. Like, I literally woke up this morning thinking about, like, how to be more connected myself, because I can only speak for myself. And I said, yo, there has to be something more, because I'm talking to somebody, right? Like, something, like, if I close my mouth and I say words, what voice is that? Like, what voice is that? So there has to be more. So is it my voice, or is it, you know what I mean? So I say, okay, I like to believe there's something higher than myself, or else man is God. But there has to be something higher than myself. And how do you get closer to that? Do you do acid? No. Do you go on long walks? Do you get grounded? I'm thinking about that.
Grounding, yeah.
Going on a walk and just taking my shoes off and just getting grounded. A good way, not grounded by your parents, but like in a good way. So that's weird that just came up just now, because I take signs. I take all the signs now. My mother tells me, look at those signs or else you're stupid, because somebody is giving you the roadmap, but you just decide that you're so fucking smart. That's how she talks, so sorry. She's like, you decide that you're so fucking smart that you know everything. And if you think you know everything, that's the moment you should tell yourself, I know nothing. And then back up.
And then humble up, yeah.
Yep, back up and then self-reflect. Mama words.
Your mom is always wise, my friend. She is always
I'm gonna let her know
wise.
today. I'm gonna tell her I was on the podcast and I keep dropping her name. Linda Henderson, check her out.
We were, damn, I'm trying to bring my train of thought, because you said something really, really great. And I always do this.
God damn it, Kevin.
I know. I'm trying to get it back. Well, for the side moment here, shout out to 570. Shout out to Drew Chase, because this is exactly why we're in this conversation, was because he gave me that idea. Oh, got it. Remembered it. Okay. But let me just fill in this plug in. Keep this in your head. That voice in your head. Keep that in your head. Okay. Little plug in here. So he gave me this Fanta. This is the last of the 570 exotic snacks that we have. I destroyed them, bodied them. They were fantastic. Definitely got to check them out if you're out there in Carbondale. But I didn't try it yet. It's a purple Fanta. And we're going to try it out. The bottle is a little unique here. It looks like Pepto-Bismol bottle, right? All right, so it's not as fizzly. So like everyone's like, oh, like what's so different about it? Don't we have like great flavor in America already? Like, no, it's about the ingredients that are allowed in the country that produce this. They're different.
Okay, talk to me.
Even just like something as simple as food coloring that is banned in our country, or excuse me, that is allowed in our country, but's banned in, let's say, Asia, or because he said he would get products from Asia, Spain, all around the world.
We need to check. Where's this at?
Yeah, and in Carbondale, 570 Exotics, you can order your own package online, plugging them in. But this is great, and it was a great time. It was a great podcast, and his products are immaculate.
This was the last episode?
This was the last episode, yeah, before you. Exactly.
Nice. See what I did there? Make sure they know. Go check them out.
Yes, of course. So, little sidebar there. Thank you for that. But back to the voice in your head.
The voice in your head.
Okay. So the voice in your head, right? You mentioned that, like, who is that speaking to you? And I ask that question all the time too. And it's not your voice. It can't be your voice. And the reason I say that, no, it can't be your voice. Because the reason I say that is because you can manipulate that voice to be anybody's voice.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's real. Damn, you just fucked me up with that.
So it isn't your voice. It's the soul. It's the other part that isn't bodied by this earth.
Voice can sound like Denzel right now.
Yeah. Damn. As silly as that sounds, as silly as it,
right now.
I'm saying soul, but I think it's the body. I think it's the part of the human that isn't physical.
Right.
It's just not physical. Like, some people claim they can see it, like auras and shit.
Okay.
People claim that they can see it, but I'm a regular dude who eats shit, so my pineal gland is all fucked up, and my chakra is all unbalanced.
Damn, I get the chakras right.
So I am not a privy to seeing these auras, but I do have that knowledge or self-awareness that this voice isn't my voice.
So I'm gonna try to see if I can bring it back full circle. Do you meditate?
I deep breathe exercise. That's the closest thing to meditating that I do.
Okay. So the voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you hear negative voices, not voices, but if you hear that negative part that could be, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. How do you stop that voice from being right? And then how do you know the other voice is like, yeah, I can do this? How do you know which one to listen to?
The devil's advocate,
Mm-hmm.
the devil's advocate part. So how do I know which voice to listen to? Sometimes it gets to me and it frustrates me, and I just try to shut it down entirely.
The negative.
Yes.
Right.
I try to shut it down entirely, but I won't sit here and bullshit you that there are times that the negative does supersede, and I won't have a meltdown, but I'm going to ball up my fist. I'm going to be like, fuck. Like, I'm going to just maybe throw my hat.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday I was having a moment, like woke up in a moment of frustration. But what I tell myself is my feelings are not always right? So I went on a walk and I could feel myself getting super worked up, right? And I could feel like something was setting in, like saying negative things. Yeah, I went back home and I sat down and I just meditated for like 10 minutes and tried to, do deep breathing, talk to myself again. Yo, I'm the shit. That's all I tell myself. It's like, yo,
I'm the shit.
I'm the shit.
I'm the shit.
No one can stop you. You're I'm smart, intelligent. You got this. I just repeat everything over and over and over. And then like 10 minutes later, I had no negative thought whatsoever. It's like it literally was nothing. But if I never took the time to sit and meditate, I don't know if that would have happened.
It was like a cleanse.
Yeah, I think if I would have wallowed in that depression, let's just call it right now, I could have sat in it. And that's what would lead me, because I can only speak for myself, to stay there and not be consistent and do my work and get off the couch and stuck there just blah. Like, that's what happens. Like, can't do that shit. Meditate.
When that stuff happens and it takes over, I try to laugh about it. That's just how I've always taken any type of hardship in my life.
Fair.
I make jokes about it. Or I'll just be like, of course this is fucking happening. Like, why not? Of course this would be happening, And then when we figure it out, I always say it's like, damn, we figured it out, and it's that I'm the shit, we're the shit, we got it done type of deal. And that just comes with, attitude and just who you are. Some people have it, some people don't.
I think everybody got it. But sometimes you need somebody else there to help you.
I know, and I hate that.
That
like
sucks.
Gary V, I dislike him so much. Do you know who he is?
Yeah. I got moments. You got to take Gary V in spurts. Because if you listen to too much Gary V, it's... oh, God. You'd be like, shut the fuck up, Gary.
Thank you. So you were talking about, controlling your emotions, right? And I brought this up in a previous podcast. There was this acronym. It was for peace, okay? And it goes, proper evaluation activates controllable emotions, okay? And it was a way to basically, meditation. You're trying to get your inner peace, right?
Yes.
So I took that and just was like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Proper evaluations activates controllable emotions. So if you see a situation where you were pissed, okay, and you took the walk.
Yep.
So you properly evaluated,
But that shit didn't work.
and you did your thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you went back home and did your meditation.
Right.
And it's because you did that it activated the controllable emotion to keep you at your mellow and come back to
Facts.
crazy, right?
That's facts. That's super, super facts. But that's what you got to do. I like that. Say that again.
Peace. Proper evaluation activates controllable emotions.
Man, who would have thought we got all this knowledge on the Middleman Podcast? This is crazy.
That's from the Wu-Tang, bro. That's from the Wu-Tang Clan. It's from this TV show.
The Woo.
From the Woo.
Wait, you've seen all seasons?
Yeah.
See, I'm behind. I've only seen the first two, and I don't know why. I think I don't want to watch the last one because I don't want it to be over.
Nah, get on it, bro. It's fantastic.
I know it is. It's crazy. And that's crazy. You just said Wu-Tang because I was thinking about Build and Destroy while we was just talking about that. I was just thinking about that. That's crazy.
Excuse me.
That is crazy.
Hey,
We're on the same wavelength vibe.
We've gotten sidetracked so much, and it's fantastic. And we still have to talk about what you are here to represent, what you are here to talk about. I just want to ask you one last thing about your vlogs.
Hit me.
They are fantastic, Thurman, and it upsets me that I don't see consistency with them. I think you are self-editing as well, correct?
Yes.
And they're clean and they're crisp and they're funny and they're natural. You share real life stories. But my question is why haven't we ever been able to get down with the consistency, man? Because you shine with that, man. You shine with that vlog.
I was just talking to my lady about the same thing, and I try not to beat myself up about it because I'll say, all right, you know what? Because man, it's so messed up. I'll be honest. So I wanted to do a vlog on my birthday because I just thought it'd be cool. Mm-hmm. But then when everything in life started to catch up, my time went away. And then when I started to think about the setup and okay, I got to get the camera where it needs to be. I got to get my chair where it needs to be. I got to put the lights on. I got to figure out what song I'm trying to hear behind me, and I'm thinking about all this other stuff, and then I never start. So it's not, sometimes I'm not fully disciplined to start the vlog. So even when I start it, sometimes I'm not consistent and I don't finish it. So then I even tell myself, why am I starting it if I already don't finish it? So now I'm telling myself don't make this process so hard on yourself. Don't worry about all the extra lighting and stuff because it's really not about that. My vlogs never were. It was really just about me putting the story out and kind of venting for myself. It was really just an avenue for myself to vent. But the moment people started to like it and I started to think about what other people wanted, I started to put too much pressure on myself. And then I felt like that took all the shit away from it.
The truth and the brunt of it is if you're trying to run a vlog, right? How hard is it to keep your everyday life exciting? That something new is going to happen every day.
Right.
Unless you got like millions in your pockets and you could just freaking go out there and do whatever you want.
Right.
Like it's a GTA story.
Right.
But no, that's another added pressure to vlog. So like with that being said, do you think that you would be able to find a consistency? And if so, definitely don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. But as far as like maybe bi-weekly, monthly.
I thought about doing one monthly.
Even if you did it monthly, I think people would enjoy because it's like a monthly recap. Come on, you can say something happened in a month. Something's got to happen in a month.
For sure. But I also said I don't want to always talk about the space. Like right now, I'd like to talk about the space. But like on the vlogs, does people really want to hear about how I had an event this week or an event the next week, an event the week after that? Like it becomes challenging to start telling people what do I want to share with everybody because it's not it's the world. Anybody can see that. So what am I comfortable saying? Like I got to get my insecurities out the way. If I'm telling somebody about that story I told on my last one, somebody could have been like, "Oh, you're such a bitch."
Nah, for real. Homie could have freaking commented, been like, "Yo, what's up, dog?"
Yeah, right. Like that could have happened, and then that's like, okay, like, but I'm not insecure about that. But say I tell a story about something I am passionate about, and people talk shit about it. You gotta be able to accept the criticism with the good with the bad.
100%, man.
So I'm working on it. I got one coming. I just wanted to give a recap and talk about the journey of this whole thing. But then I got to come up with a story after that. Like how you already have a podcast after this, there has to be a system already in place that works for me.
May I suggest just like asking friends to be a part of it? And what I mean by that is when you're doing these vlogs, maybe like do a personal for yourself, one that maybe you don't release, right?
Okay.
And what I mean by that is just like capture moments of where you're at, what's going on, who you're with, everyone's having fun. Let's say you and I, we went to Dorney Park or some shit, right? We went to Dorney Park and you'll capture footage of us going to Dorney Park and then you can rummage through that footage and be like, oh yeah, that happened at Dorney. And then like, then you could put it all into like a masterpiece. You know what I mean? Like this was the month of July.
Yes.
I had this going on. And then like, I'm sure people would love to be a part of it. But it's like, are you only limited to being stationary? Are you only limited to being home right now?
Nah, that's, you know what? That was just that's the way I saw it. I just always saw other people pull a camera up, take the video of them cameras, then go on the computer, edit it. But like, I always thought it would be cool. I still love to talk and be right in front of the camera. But like you said, if we went somewhere, we take the footage of that, and then I could talk, but use that as the B-roll.
Yeah,
and
B-roll.
that would be perfect, because then people could not just look at my face and be like, "All right, Thurman, I get it, bro, I get it," but I can't see the vision. So if I could paint the picture a little better, sometimes it'd be even funner for me, because I sit there and look at my face. I'm like, oh, I'm just fucking editing it, and then when I rewatch it, I'm like, that's cool for me. Like, that was awesome for me. But if I want to make this more interesting for the people, there's got to be B-roll.
You got to find a ways to overlay, so on and so forth.
Then that becomes a lot of work.
Yeah, no, I know.
You know,
Mike, is it a lot of work?
You know, it's a lot of work. They think I'm talking to them, but there's a guy behind the cameras that you guys don't see. People putting work in this place.
They already know, man. Mike's a man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, the legend.
So, Thurman.
Talk to me.
You know, we just recapped everything, vlog. You know, I think you should definitely keep that going. I would love to see that kid continue to grow.
I'm on it.
But why are you here, my friend? Why are you here today?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. So like we said, I pivot into a whole new realm. Came here because I wanted to talk about Idle Hours and their boutique room. Not specifically the lanes, because everybody knows you can go to the lanes and you can bowl. They got one on north side and we got one on south side. But the best thing about the north side is we have a VIP boutique room. The boutique room has 8 mahogany lanes. We rent it out for private parties. We have event like office gatherings. We have Marywood coming. We had Guy Singer last week. I had a birthday party yesterday. That was bananas.
A young kid birthday party? Or like...
No, the boutique room is specifically for adults.
Excuse me.
So we can have kid parties there, but we like for adults to come, because it has a bar. You can have an open bar there. You can have a cash bar. If you want your people to pay, cool. But this birthday party, they turned up. We had an open bar. People was drinking, having a good old time. We dropped the projectors for them. I set lighting for them. I changed all the lighting. Some people come in, they want one lighting. I'm like, no, we're here for 3 hours. Let Thurman take care of lighting. I'm switching this shit up all day. It's going to be red. It's going to be indigo. It's going to be blue. We're going to drop the disco lights. It's going to be crazy. They was changing the music up. We started off with classic rock in the beginning. Out of nowhere, somebody came up and was like, I need to hear hip hop. I said, you got it. I ran in the back. I turned the hip hop on. The first track that hit was Tupac. I was like, oh God, I hope all these white people are going to be okay with this. And they was loving it. I was like, oh God, run it. And I ran in the back. I was like, we got to get pictures, because this place is jumping right now. Like, this place was moving. They was dancing. They was on the floor. We had to get another person to come in, because I was like, there's too many people in here right now. I can't keep my eyes on everybody. And the floors are a little slippery when you're down there. So people was like doing the jitterbug. That's how, like, they was moving so fast, their feet was sliding across the floors. I was like, somebody gonna get hurt. But I was like, have fun. And that's what we do. I try to make sure, every event, even though you give me what you want, I try to make sure when you come there, we are about to turn up to a whole new level. Like, this is not, I'm not just here just to watch y'all have fun. Like, I know I'm working, but like, I'm here to party. Like, let's dance. Let's have a good time. What you trying to hear? I go talk to everybody on the lanes. I go up and down. They be like, oh, Thurman. I got my name tag. Everybody pronounces that shit wrong. But, here it is for you. See it. Let's have a good time together. And that's what the lanes is. But most people don't know it's there. See, it was built in 2020. What happened in 2020?
COVID.
Shut down everything. They even thought about shutting down the business. But thank God, nothing happened. Now the boutique room is still there. Every event that's thrown in there, the people always say, I did not even know this space was here. This is an amazing place. We just had a wedding ceremony Thursday.
Wonderful.
Come on. A wedding ceremony. I'm over here doing all different types of things.
Yeah.
I'm changing the game a little bit. When we started the room, they had one package. I developed a silver, gold, and bronze package. So they all have different levels, different things that you could do, because it's depending on how many people you bring to the establishment. Because some people have 20, you still want the room. If I got 10, I still might want this room. But I don't want to pay the top of the line price because it's too much. So I made a package for people who don't have too many people, don't need that much food. You can still get the room. The people who want to ball out and bring 50 plus people, I got a package for you too.
What's the capacity?
So we have fit 70 people in there max, but if you talk to me and tell me how many people you actually have, we could get 100 people in there. We could get 100, but it's got to be worth it. You need to have an open bar and drink a lot.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So when you found this job opportunity and, you're basically at the helm of the operation.
Yes.
For this whole event planning. How big is your team over there?
How big is my team?
Yeah.
It's me, and then there's me.
That's tough. So he's a cook, the lights manager,
Nah.
the DJ.
There is the chefs,
the bartender.
There's definitely the chefs. So the way we section
doorman
it is so different that I am in charge of, like, when the people call in, I take all inquiries. I make sure they get set up. I take your deposit. Managers could always take a deposit, but I feel more comfortable if when they take the deposit, it comes through me. I could keep track of all receipts. I have a process. I have a procedure. Things have to go this way, because if I'm not here, you could just look at my book, read it, and say, okay, this is where things go, procedures. So now what I don't do is I do not cook. I am not the chef. I'm not even nowhere close to that place. I only go back there to pick the food up and bring it back. And, I've tasted everything because it's part of the job. Like, every meeting I have on Wednesday is designed for when they bring the food, Thurman come back here and test it.
Okay.
You should know everything we sell, because when it's time to talk to you about it, I know how it tastes.
How great are they at, accommodating to maybe, a custom type of dish?
Depends on the dish.
Okay.
Depends on the dish. So everything, we have menus for everything, and they don't really go astray. But the chef, Tony, I like to just call him Chef.
Shout out Tone.
He is super nice with it, like really, really nice with it. So when I talk about that party yesterday, we just designed the charcuterie boards.
Oh, okay.
And, it's just fancy. I just like to say, people like to do fancy stuff sometimes.
That's an impressive word.
And
charcuterie
board. Charcuterie. We've been saying that all week before it showed up.
I say crackers, cheese, and meat.
That's it. But it looks nice. It looks really nice. And when you bring it out and, rich people see that, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You're like, yes, it is. And all the food on it is great. They go to these food conventions to make sure we have the top of the line food. There is no meat that competes with our meats. Pause. But
Arby's.
Pretty much. But they go to those conventions, make sure we have the best cheese, the best meats, the best breads, everything.
How has taking this job on elevated your game as a manager or even just an event coordinator? How has this elevated your game?
And in what ways?
As just a person, maybe from when you put on your basketball tournament to if you were to do it again, what do you know now since the job has presented this opportunity for you to pursue what you like?
I know how to deal with people a little better. I still don't have that mastered.
Okay.
Excuse me, but sometimes when I was younger, if we say like, what did I learn in the basketball tournament? I remember having somebody's always upset. There's always one. There's always fucking one. And when that lady was upset, I did not know how to deal with that. I took it very personally, as if she was attacking me. And it wasn't. It was about the issue. And the issue sometimes is not about you. So nowadays, I would say, if somebody comes to me and they have an issue about something else, it's not about me. Like, even if they say, Thurman, you forgot the ketchup. All right, I'm gonna go grab the fucking ketchup. Like, like, I'll be right back. But like before, I'd probably be like, it's not my job. Or I would try to deflect or move the needle to say, you know what I mean? That's where I would go wrong when I was younger. Nowadays, it's not about me. It's not so personal about me. Like, shit ain't really about me at all. Like, it's not. It's over here. Stop making everything so personal. That's my biggest level up. Don't take nothing too personal. Shit ain't about you.
It's like a maturity point.
Fair enough. I'll accept that.
No, I mean, it's probably the truth of it. Like I think about times when I was in high school and I would think of something and I would think less of something. And do I think less of that thing now? No. But I look back and I'm like, damn, I just was too immature to understand and process that maybe that's why that person works that way. Maybe that's why this thing is that way, so on and so forth.
That's great. So at that party yesterday, I ran into my 7th grade teacher.
Okay.
And she told me, she was like, you were a great young boy, but you were so bad. And I was like, really? No way, not me. And I was a terror. And when I think about it now, she was like, when she's like, you have grown into such a handsome young man. And I said, thank you. Because where I was at as a young boy, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was just moving and acting so emotionally. Nowadays, as a man, I can't be acting so emotional. I got to take a step back. Just mature up. It's not about you. Don't be a piece of shit.
What has been one of your favorite parties to put on so far?
Yesterday was dope. Man, we've had some bangers. So we had a 4-hour party from RJ Walker, and they were a great time.
Those are the guys.
They were a great time. They came through. Everybody was nice. Sometimes when we have parties, people come through and they act like they own the place, and they treat their staff, no matter where they go, not just there, but like they treat people less than because they think for whatever reason they treat people less than. When RJ Walker came through, even though if you don't know who RJ Walker is, look them up. They got money, but they didn't treat nobody no different. They treated me with respect. They treated the bartender with respect. They treated our maintenance people with respect. They helped clean up their area. I love it when people help clean up their area. I'm like, you guys are great. Like, this is amazing. You don't have to, but like, you could tell people who give a shit.
It's common courtesy.
Just don't be a dick. It's like that's my message. If you could name this, just don't be a dick.
The podcast? The podcast?
No, like the title of it. Like,
of the episode.
Yeah, this is not even introducing Thurman.
I'll be honest with you. I thought about it midway through the show, and I was like, it might just be, are we starting a festival? Like, question mark? Like, are we starting a festival?
I mean, I'm very down for that.
I think we could draw some eyes in and honestly get some people to just comment and see who would take part. I think, we mentioned we have these lists of people.
Serious inquiries only.
Yes, serious inquiries
because it's a mission. It's a real mission.
And I think we can get it done.
I'm just about to. You gotta stop taking the words out my mouth. Jeez Louise.
I think we can get it done, man. But with that being said, man, we're going to definitely transition into tea time. But before we get off the air and transition into tea time, not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. T-Will, you know how this goes. We like to give the people the floor before we get off the air here. The floor is yours, my friend.
So, I don't really know what I should say, but what I am going to say is that, one, thank you for having me on the show. It's been a pleasure. People, please come down to Idle Hours North. Check out your boy Thurman out there for the event coordination. We have multiple packages. We have a gold, silver, and a bronze. We have different setups for everybody. So we're even thinking of doing a barbecue style event. We got a Hawaiian festival event coming. We got weddings if you want to do them. So reach out to us. Let us know. I'm your boy Thurm. That's the show.
Love it. A Hawaiian party.
Yeah, it's dope. I got to wear
a luau.
Yeah, whatever it is.
A luau. Halalulu. But with that being said, T-Will, thank you so much for coming back to the Middleman Podcast, man. It's been a pleasure. Your mother was still dropping dimes of knowledge, even though she wasn't here, and that's what I said, man. We'd be having some great conversations, and I knew that this was going to be one.
It was dope.
So with that being said, we're going to transition into tea time, not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. I am the man in the middle, Kevin Martinez, signing out. Peace.